Hello, Misfits, and welcome! In this episode, I want to talk all about monsters, specifically what you can do to sort of customize your monsters and have them better suit the scenarios and the encounters that you have planned. As with any of my videos, this is what I do, this is my advice, but it might not work for you, so just take from this what you want and ignore the rest. So when I was first learning how to be a DM and get my feet wet with that, the idea of coming up with my own monsters kind of really terrified me. I didn't really know what I was doing or what I could do or should do. And I would have these ideas for like these encounters or these scenarios, and I would struggle to find monsters that would like perfectly fit those instances. And I would end up sort of like scouring the internet for like these sort of third-party monsters that maybe I could use, or like a homebrew variant, and I didn't yet trust myself to do that myself, but along the way I've kind of learned some easy things that you can do to just sort of tailor your monsters a little bit. So I've put those all in a list for you, and we're gonna go over them right now. So number one, the first thing that you can do that's super easy is to just change the creature type. So every monster has like a type. You've got your beasts and your aberrations and your monstrosities. You've got your constructs, your fiends, your undead. They all have like a type. So you can just sort of change this to sort of better fit what you have in mind. My last campaign featured a lot of devils and fiends, and sometimes it was a struggle to find the right sort of devil to fit the scenario. So, very easily you can just sort of adjust a creature type, change it, and whenever you describe that creature, just sort of describe them a little differently than how they were originally intended, so that it better fits this change that you have made. This could also be a great way to play into like the preferred enemy of your ranger. If you've got a ranger in the party at your table, they will have special enemies that they can get bonuses on, and sort of buffs when facing them, because that's like their thing that they have specialized in hunting or fighting. So you could adjust the creature type so that you can sort of play to the strengths of the ranger or rangers at your table. Or, maybe if you want to give them a harder fight, you can change it so that it's not the favored enemy of your ranger. Just things to keep in mind. But that's a great way to sort of adjust things to tailor the needs of your table, not just the ideas in your head. Number two, you can change the damage type of the attacks that this creature deals, this monster deals. And that's an easy change. And it doesn't really affect things balance-wise at all. And it's a good way to sort of spice things up. You can do this in pretty much any scenario. If you've got some goons, but you want to add a little flavor to them, instead of them having like clubs and swords, maybe all their swords are flaming swords and they deal fire damage instead. I don't know. Things like that. There's a lot of ways you can sort of adjust things, but that's an easy change, and that could be something that you could do to just sort of spice things up so it doesn't feel so much like a repeated type of creature. Or it could be another way that you kind of tailor things to the people at your table. Maybe some of your player characters have certain weaknesses or certain resistances. You can change these damage types so that you can either work around that or give those players a time to shine and show their strengths. Number three, if you are throwing some enemies at your party that are spellcasters, you can very easily swap out the spells on their list. I do this all the time. My players love to take counterspell, so very rarely do I put them up against an enemy spellcaster that doesn't also have counterspell. All right. A lot of people complain about how frustrating counterspell can be, but you can use it too, and you should. Okay. The crazy stuff that your players throw at you, you should be able to throw it back at them. So adjust the spell list of your spellcasters. Another scenario in which I did this is I started to find out very quickly that silence is brutal. It's sort of a broken spell in some ways. It can really just ruin the chances of an enemy spellcaster. Silence up against a lich, it's not a good scenario, because there's very little that liches in their base spell sheet. It's very little that they can cast that doesn't require some sort of vocal component. But you can swap out some of those spells. Psychic Scream, a great way to work around silence, and it is devastating. So keep that in mind. Adjust those spells, and that's also a good way to sort of flavor your spellcasters. I normally, in any of my spellcasters, enemies or good guys, I like to theme them. And it's like, these spellcasters always do sort of ice and water and snow magic, or these spellcasters only deal with like fire and things like that. So you can sort of use these swapping out of spells to kind of theme these characters and make them stand out and feel a little bit more unique, and kind of give them tells so that they can be recognized and more memorable, things like that. Number 4, you can swap out the resistances and immunities of your enemies as well, or you can give them resistances and immunities. This is an easy way to make enemies a little tougher to take down if you're giving them resistances. This is also another way in which you can sort of tailor things to the player characters. If they like to favor a certain type of damage, you can give your enemy resistance to that type of damage, to imply that maybe they're learning from their experiences fighting them, or just to make them harder to take down, things like that. That's an easy switch, and again, none of these things really affect like the balance that much. They're just sort of different ways to kind of shake things up a little bit and make things feel a little, a little bit fresh with each encounter. And same sort of thing, like if you are, changing a creature type to now be undead, you're also probably going to want to change their resistances and immunities to reflect that. So if I turn something into, if I take a spy or an assassin stat, and I want to make them an undead assassin, or an undead spy, or whatever, then I can also give them resistance to necrotic damage or immunity to necrotic damage, just to better reflect that change of creature type. And things like that. That could be sort of a smart pairing there. So you can sort of use these all together to sort of make a more well-rounded change to kind of reflavor these bad guys. All right, number 5, if you want to spice things up even more, you can give enemies multi-attack, or even give them legendary actions. This can be especially useful when you're dealing with a large table of player characters, and you're looking to sort of balance things out in terms of the action economy. So giving a baddie a multi-attack, or giving them legendary actions even though they're not a legendary creature, that's a great way to spice things up. It's a great way to sort of draw out the fight if you feel like your fights are taking too long. This can affect sort of the balancing of this encounter that you might be building, so keep that in mind. If you're dealing with larger parties, encounter balancers are probably not super accurate to begin with, so it might be good to give them multi-attack, just so that they stand a better chance against your big group of heroes. But otherwise, just be careful, be mindful that this is giving your bad guy more chances to hit on their turn, or throughout a round of combat, and that can affect things. That can turn the tide. So, I probably wouldn't be giving multi-attack or legendary actions to bad guys that my, levels 1 through 3 or 1 through 4 characters are going up against. But once they get to like 5, level 5, they can handle some of these changes being thrown at them. So something to bear in mind there. And I give my baddies legendary actions and multi-attack all the time. I deal with a table of 7 players, and that's a lot. So I have to do things to sort of give myself a little bit more of a fighting chance, just to make things feel tougher for the party. Because what makes a good encounter is something that feels hard but is still survivable. It's a very interesting balancing act. So doing number 5, giving them multi-attack and legendary actions, it's a great way to sort of bump up the intensity of the encounter itself. So these were my 5 ways to just sort of lightly customize and tailor your enemies and monsters to better suit your needs and better suit your party and the scenarios and encounters that you have planned. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you found this useful. And if you liked this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. Please comment below. I would love to hear about changes that you have made to your monsters and your baddies to sort of set them apart or tailor them to certain scenarios. It's always fun to hear things like that, and it gives me cool ideas for things that I could do in the future as well. So I'd love to hear from you guys. But with all of that said, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you again next time. If you want to hear about, I guess, one of my wackiest sort of like reskins of a monster is probably in our Halloween one-shot that we did most recently. Yeah, my players fought this is so dumb. They fought a Pikachu bouncy house. You can watch the game. It's on this channel. It's called A Night to Remember. It's a whole thing. But all I did was take Baba Lazaga's creeping hut and just changed the damage type to lightning. That's literally all I did. And then I just described it differently, but like everything else was the same. Gosh, that was so stupid. But it was fun. It was really funny. It was very silly. It was a good time. We are, I guess I should say me, because I'm the one that's putting it all together. I have almost finished putting together, sort of a video of everybody at the table describing the characters that they play, so you can sort of put some names, and faces to the characters from our campaign 2. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah. And I am dangerously close to meeting all the requirements for monetization. So that's pretty exciting too. Never thought that would happen. But I definitely attribute all of that to you guys and the support that you've shown and how you guys have watched and responded to my videos. So from the bottom of my heart, I very much thank you for making me feel enabled to do this stuff, because this is so fun. I'm so passionate about this game and like what it can be and what it should be, and I just want everybody to be able to get into it and love it as much as I do. So thanks, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.